One of my favorite topics ever. Why do we get sick? Okay, it's time to demystify this because this is an issue that will impact every single one of us. Yes, everyone, actually, not just sometimes, but all the time. So it's not about luck and it's not purely about healthy living, good food, exercise, or positive thinking and other myths which promise well being. Okay, so lean in, you're gonna like this. I want to tell you about symptoms, which are this kind of totally underestimated point of interest in all of our lives. So, when I say symptom, I mean any kind of pain, discomfort, imperfection, or so-called malfunction that occurs anywhere in your body. Really, what these are messengers. They are telling us about what we have not managed to flow with in our life. So something that is stuck in regards to this river of chi, this river of flow that wants to flow through us and wants us to flow with it. Something is stuck and we're being told about it. So as I mentioned, the way that the body level of energy can communicate with us, and it does communicate with us because it's where most of us keep our conscious awareness, is through sensation. And that typically looks like pain, discomfort, or like a bodily issue that kind of bothers or annoys us, yeah? So it's that simple. This is why symptoms are arriving. They are communications, but it's also part of an intricate system, like an incredible system of intelligent design that I kind of hinted at before. So even the most tiny little issues, like the odd pimple that shows up, for example, here, this is a repeating one for me, or like an itch on the back of your leg that has always shown up in the same place, or something that just came upon you, especially watching a course like this, like over the last few days, a little niggle, we call them. We don't give these too much attention in our culture because we're all waiting for big, scary diagnoses before we start to do anything about our healthcare. Or otherwise, we're like eating well and exercising and kind of like hoping for the best and taking our supplements. But actually, what so many people are missing out on is that your body is speaking to you all day, every day. And we have lost any kind of reference generally for like what good bodily function looks and feels like. So I almost wanted to call a video in here like, what the fuck is normal? Pardon my French, because like there are so many misrepresentations of what it means or should mean to be a healthy person, how your body should be behaving. And most of them are like, not very realistic and also quite unachievable. If you have no symptoms in your body, then you have no issues relating to the flow of life through and around you. And frankly, you're probably not incarnated, because if you're here on earth in a body, you got something to learn about flow, okay? So we should be much more attentive and much more curious about this language of the body that expresses through what we call symptoms. And we should also be impressed by it. I like to say that if we knew how intricate and beautiful all the mechanisms are, which are actually contributing to every single tiny issue, as well as chronic and amassed issues, like if we knew how beautiful everything was feeding into that, we would be wearing our imperfections and our illnesses with pride. They are gifts. And I know that can be really hard to hear if you have been dealing with a diagnosis, for example, that's very challenging, or that feels very serious and scary. But the invitation here is to kind of let outside definitions of what you're going through and what's possible for you kind of fade away for a little bit, and really to take this invitation to go into touch with your own body. And first of all, your body, the consciousness of you that lives in your body, is really going to like that. And this is really going to start to shift things for you. So I've spent lots of years now obsessed with this symptoms reading and had the honor of doing it for many, many people at this point. And if you need to lean on my words, I just can tell you that this is really, really confirmed. It's really, really true that when you're able to look at the deeper levels as to what the body is saying, it's not just a matter of this area of the face corresponds to this part of the body. This is the start point. It's like, oh, this is something to do with your mother. This is something to do with the topic of nourishment. Like, there's just such important themes, and we know the important themes for each of us, for ourselves, that manifest through the body. But they're not just a product also of our childhood and our conditioning. They are messengers of like our soul, what we're here to do. They're reminding us also of the big plan for us in life as well. So yeah, so if you're sitting there thinking, really? I'm not sure I believe all of this. Just remember, your body does not speak English. It's communicating by way of sensation. And generally, we've just forgotten to be in touch with that level of communication. Don't worry, that's what this course is for. So all of what I said, I am aware, does stand in like stark contrast to the status quo and the mainstream impression of Western society, where symptoms are kind of considered like trash, like they need to be suppressed and dismissed and taken out. And actually, even in alternative circles where the search for this elusive cause, what's the cause? Is actually kind of distracting us from the nature of what your body has to say right here and now. So listen to this and you will start to discover really how symptoms come to be. And on the topic of resolution, let's look at that. So given all that I've said, it's really time that we start to listen rather than wish away or masking over our symptoms. We want to get to know them, and that means we want to get to know ourselves, and we want to start to trust them as an expression of actually how perfect you are, rather than as a source of shame, blame, disgust, or embarrassment. So how can you start? Firstly, by paying attention to sensation. What do you feel? Where do you experience pronounced sensation in your body? And that will let you know where your body is calling for your attention. It's calling for you to listen. It's calling for you to make a change. And when I say make a change, I don't mean stop eating gluten. I mean listen. So So you may be in different places as you hear that. Certainly when I first came to alternative therapies in this way, I was completely mind-body disconnected. I had really a numbness through my body. When they asked me, what symptoms I had, I was like stumped, I don't have any. I'm 22. I have no problems, like I'm great. Which actually, was not the case. And equally, for those of you who want to be, okay, which actually was not the case. And so for anyone who might be feeling a little bit like that, like there's nothing wrong with me, don't worry, we will get there. It's really about bringing attention to the details. It's really good if you don't have big issues, right? But you can probably still go closer into those little niggles I mentioned. Now, if you're anything like me and you've just heard all of this, then you're probably rearing to go, right? Yes, okay, listen to the body. All right, that will make a change. I'm going to go in, guns blazing, and start listening, and also, start directing and making a cleanup around here. Let's slow down and hold our horses, because really the body level is where you also can learn some very important lessons about the necessity of patience. It's really about patience. And as you enter into a dialogue with your body, you'll find that, and you can also really picture these symptoms, they're kind of expressions of frozen parts of you. You can picture them like mini versions of yourself stuck in your body, which are like they're stuck in some way. Maybe an emotion didn't flow through you, and so you like registered it and locked it away so that it could flow through later. Or an experience that wasn't fully processed is kind of lodged in your system. This is helpful for you to understand, like if you were approaching yourself feeling kind of shitty and not wanting to be interrupted and sort of trying to process something, you might not really be up for someone blazing in through the doors and going, hey, I figured out what you're all about, come over here and, move through my system already. This kind of attitude won't necessarily get us so far. I wouldn't say it wouldn't work full stop. It's all very variable, but in general, you want to approach with delicacy. For most of our lives, most of us have been like, like weighed down and unhappy with the body and its production of information this way. So it's really, really recommended to understand that relationship between you and yourself that has developed already, where you stand with that, and to really start to approach, humbly, more with the attitude like, oh, I'm ready to approach you in a different way and I'd like to listen to what you have to say. Not going in ready to change something, going in ready to listen, ready to be open, ready to receive, ready to accept. This is really, really important because, even the notion that we're fine and then watching this video you realize, oh, maybe I actually have some symptoms and I'm not 100% perfect at the health level, then this can have an impact. So the more you can approach softly and patiently, the more likely your own body is going to be able to reveal to you where your blockages are and what is needed from you to dissolve them. So of course, in this course, reflex maps are our tool to work with blockages, to approach the body and to start to converse. And what's beautiful about this is that basically, even if you have a good energetic connection with yourself and you're in communication with your organs, with your energy bodies, and you're capable of moving things, there's something really tangible and thoughtless about working with these maps. It's a really different level, and it offers a lot of benefits in that way too. You don't have to think so much and direct so much. So really the conversation I'm speaking of happens first of all by way of touch, as a means of sending a request and a means of listening through touch as well, and of course observing in the mirror and on the face. So basically, where can this lead us? By touching reflex zones on your face, which correspond to current energy blockages, you will begin to support the flow of energy to and through that place in your body. So in turn, as this energy is freed up and re-released into the cycling river that you are, more flow will be generated throughout your whole system. And so then the potential is really like an upward spiral of improvement in bodily issues, developing a deeper listening, and more quickly and readily being able to cater to the calls of your body, whether they're subtle or loud, and to make the necessary adjustment. I think it goes without saying, this is incredibly empowering. It not only liberates you from the outer authority of diagnoses or doctor's orders, but it also reduces your reliance on all kinds of ingested medicines, treatments, supplements, and their associated expenses. This will help you also to gain trust in your body and its intelligence as you go, and you will become also less afraid of pain and illness as they arrive. You will discover a little bit in the next section as I start to present the maps to you just how your body's language is both symbolic and poetic, and therefore it's always up for interpretation. So as you gain confidence in your ability to do this, you'll also be more and more able to identify your own way of perceiving. We all have our own way of perceiving, and this reflects also, on top of everything else, your own unique being, just as much as your physical qualities I mentioned in the last video. So I want to share one final thought, which is that in the decades and the centuries ahead, the time may come where more people not just trust and listen to their bodies and know what to do about issues and how to resolve them more quickly. But that as this upward cycle continues throughout society and reaches the masses over time, it's probable that actually we won't need to develop physical symptoms anymore. What I mean by that is if we're so in touch with the non-physical aspects of our being, this energy messaging system of imbalance or blockage will not have to arrive to the physical level. I find this like a really astounding possibility, and I really believe it is ahead for humanity. So I want to just leave that as a final note for all of you to just spend some seconds imagining a world like that, a society like that, like free from that inner conflict that restricts our flow, and know that it is possible.